time. We think we understand it. We measure it with clocks. We schedule our lives by it. We assume it ticks at the same pace for everyone, everywhere. But what if I told you that time isn't as fixed as we imagine? That every time light moves, even the tiniest flicker, it's quietly reshaping the rhythm of reality. This isn't science fiction, it's the result of some of the most well-tested physics in the universe. And yet, it defies our everyday intuition. To understand this, we need to start with the speed of light. Light is extraordinary because it always travels at the same speed, about 300,000 kilometers per second. It doesn't matter if you're standing still, running, or riding a rocket at thousands of kilometers per hour. Light never slows down or speeds up. This isn't just a quirk, it's a fundamental rule built into the fabric of the universe. Imagine trying to catch a car that moves this fast. You could push your car to impossible speeds, yet the light would still be ahead, never letting you catch up. That's not a problem with your imagination. It's a real feature of the cosmos, and it's why light plays such a pivotal role in shaping time itself. Now let's try a thought experiment. Imagine making a clock that works purely by light. Take two mirrors, one above the other, and bounce a beam of light between them. Every time the beam hits the top or bottom mirror, the clock ticks. Simple, elegant, and surprisingly, it reveals something profound about time. Next, imagine that this clock is on a fast-moving spaceship. From the perspective of someone inside the ship, the beam still moves straight up and down. But from the perspective of someone watching from outside, the beam traces a diagonal path, traveling a longer distance between ticks. Light still moves at the same speed, which means that from the outsider's perspective, each tick now takes longer. The moving clock slows down. Time doesn't stop, but it stretches, it dilates. This effect isn't theoretical. It has been confirmed countless times with particles moving near the speed of light, and even with highly precise atomic clocks on airplanes. This is why humans struggle to grasp the concept. Our brains evolved in a world where speeds are tiny compared to light. A car, a plane, a speeding bullet, these all seem fast to us, but they're minuscule compared to the cosmic speed limit. Our intuition tells us time is absolute, because in everyday life, the effects of light on time are imperceptible. Even the brightest thinkers for centuries, Newton, Galileo, assumed time was the same everywhere, ticking steadily like a perfect metronome. Then Einstein came along and turned that idea on its head, showing that time is not universal. It's intimately tied to motion, and light is the messenger enforcing that rule. So when we say light is killing time, it isn't a metaphor. Light literally forces time to bend, to stretch, and to flow differently depending on how it moves and how we move relative to it. Every photon that travels across the universe carries with it the instruction manual of time. And it's this invisible, subtle influence that makes our everyday sense of seconds, minutes, and hours just a convenient approximation rather than a fundamental truth of the cosmos. Now that we've seen how light sets a cosmic speed limit, let's explore a simple yet astonishing way it controls time itself, the light clock. Imagine a clock made of nothing but two mirrors and a single beam of light bouncing between them. Each time the beam hits the top mirror and returns to the bottom mirror, the clock ticks. One tick, one tock, steady and predictable. Picture this clock sitting on a table. From your perspective, the light moves straight up and down, and each tick is perfectly regular. Now, imagine placing this same clock on a train speeding past you at a substantial fraction of the speed of light. The light doesn't just move vertically anymore, it moves diagonally, tracing a longer path, because the train is moving forward while the beam travels between the mirrors. From your viewpoint on the platform, the light has to cover more distance, but light can't go any faster than its cosmic speed limit. The result, each tick of the moving clock takes longer. Time itself stretches for that clock. This phenomenon is called time dilation, and it's not just an abstract thought experiment. It happens every day in laboratories and in space. Particles accelerated close to the speed of light live longer than they would at rest, precisely because the light inside them, the clock of their internal processes, follows the same rules. Atomic clocks flown on high, speed jets tick slightly slower compared to identical clocks left on the ground. Even our global positioning satellites orbiting Earth experience tiny but measurable time dilation due to both their speed and the weaker gravity up there. Engineers must account for it, or GPS readings would drift by kilometers every day. What makes this so difficult for humans to grasp is that it defies our everyday intuition. In our world, cars, planes, and bullets seem fast, but they're still crawling compared to the speed of light. Our senses evolved to navigate a universe of slow motion. A light beam doesn't behave like anything we can directly experience, so our intuition resists it. We naturally assume that time should be the same everywhere. Even great thinkers like Newton believed in absolute time, a steady rhythm ticking the same for all observers. Einstein showed that this assumption is wrong. Time is not a universal constant, it is relational, tied to motion, and light is the strict enforcer. We can see it in another way too. If you were chasing a beam of light, you would never catch it. No matter how fast you move, the light always remains ahead. Every photon of light carries a subtle instruction. Keep your speed, follow the rules. And those rules tell you that your perception of time depends on your motion relative to the light. This is why a moving clock slows down from the perspective of an outside observer. Time itself is flexible, and light is the thread that measures and enforces that flexibility. Even in everyday life, we interact with this invisible truth. The sunlight streaming through a window reached us 8 minutes ago. We are always seeing the past. Clocks on airplanes or satellites move differently than clocks on the ground. The universe's internal bookkeeping is happening at every moment, and light is quietly orchestrating it. Time, as we experience it, is not an absolute stage on which events happen. It is a dynamic, malleable dimension, intimately tied to motion and light itself. Even with all this, humans struggle to fully grasp what time really is. Our brains are excellent at navigating the world we live in, but the universe operates on scales and speeds far beyond our natural intuition. We evolved to perceive a world where a second is a second, and a minute is a minute. Cars move fast, planes move faster, and bullets even faster, but none of these speeds come close to the speed of light. Time feels steady because, in everyday life, the effects of motion on time are almost invisible. Our senses were never designed to notice that the universe bends its rhythm, depending on how fast things move or how light travels. Even scientists who can calculate time dilation with exact precision often find it hard to feel it. Think of it like this. Imagine standing beside a river, watching the water flow steadily. Now imagine a river that stretches or compresses, depending on how fast you walk along it. You could measure the changes with a precise stopwatch, but your intuition would tell you the river flows the same everywhere. That's the difficulty with time. It behaves differently depending on motion and perspective, but our instincts insist it is absolute. Newton assumed time was a universal, unchanging river, flowing identically for everyone. For centuries, that idea worked perfectly for everything humans could measure. But as our understanding of light and motion deepened, cracks appeared. Light doesn't care about our assumptions. It always travels at the same speed, and in doing so, it enforces rules that make time relative. Einstein realized that the ticking of a clock depends not just on its mechanics, but also on how it moves through space. Motion and light conspire to shape the flow of time, and no clock can escape it. The strangeness of this idea is compounded by the fact that we can't see it directly. The light from a star that reaches our eyes left that star years ago, which means we are constantly looking into the past without realizing it. Every photon is a messenger, carrying information about distant events at the speed limit of the universe. It is also subtly influencing the passage of time itself. Clocks don't just measure time. They are influenced by it, shaped by motion and light in ways we can calculate but cannot feel. This leads to a deeper question: what is time? We measure it with clocks, we experience it as a flow, but fundamentally we don't know if it exists independently or is simply a way to describe relationships between events. Light gives us clues. It shows us that time is not absolute, that it can stretch or compress, and that it is intimately tied to the structure of the universe. But it doesn't give us a complete answer. Even the most advanced physics can only describe how time behaves, not why it exists in the first place. Understanding this changes how we see reality. Time is not a stage where events play out independently of us. It is a dynamic, flexible dimension, intimately linked to motion and the propagation of light. Every tick of a clock, every photon passing through space is a small, precise reminder that the universe is far stranger than our intuition suggests. Light is not just illuminating the world, it is sculpting time itself, enforcing the rules of a reality that is deeper and more mysterious than we ever imagined. Even after understanding time dilation and the strange behavior of moving clocks, there remains a vast unknown frontier. We can measure time, we can calculate its stretching and compressing under motion or gravity, but we still do not fully understand what time is. Is it something fundamental, a basic ingredient of the universe, or is it merely a bookkeeping tool that helps us describe how events relate to each other? Physics can predict how time behaves, how it bends under the influence of light and gravity, but it cannot answer why time exists at all. Gravity adds another layer of complexity. Einstein's theory of general relativity tells us that mass and energy warp space-time. That warping bends the path of light and alters the flow of time. Clocks on the surface of the Earth tick, slightly slower than clocks on satellites in orbit. High-precision experiments confirm this, and it is essential for modern technology. GPS satellites constantly adjust their clocks to compensate for both the speed of their motion and the weaker gravitational field they experience compared to the surface. Without accounting for these effects, navigation systems would be off by kilometers every day. Time is not uniform across space, and light is the silent referee keeping these differences measurable and consistent. Even at the cosmic scale, light shapes our perception of reality. When we look at distant galaxies, we are seeing light that left them millions or billions of years ago. In essence, we are always looking into the past. Light doesn't just carry information, it structures the timeline along which we observe events. Every photon arriving at our eyes or at a telescope carries with it a record of space-time and the rules it enforces. Our perception of now is a reconstruction stitched together by countless particles of light traveling vast distances at the universe's speed limit. Time is personal, relative, and layered, and yet it feels uniform to our daily experience because light mediates it invisibly. There are subtle effects of light and time that touch our everyday lives. Commuters moving through a city, airplanes crossing continents, satellites orbiting the Earth. All these systems experience minute differences in time, imperceptible to humans without precise instruments. Even fundamental particles and accelerators live longer when moving near the speed of light. The rules of the universe, dictated by light, are always at play whether we notice them or not. Every photon traveling through space is a tiny agent enforcing the universe's schedule, quietly sculpting the flow of time for everything it touches. Yet the strangest part is that we cannot feel or sense it directly. Our intuition resists the idea that seconds can stretch and compress depending on motion or gravity. We evolved to navigate a world where such effects are negligible, where time seems absolute and the same for everyone. Physics forces us to confront a universe far stranger than our senses suggest, where clocks lie, photons carry invisible instructions, and the very fabric of reality is flexible. Light is not just a messenger of information, it is the mechanism that shapes the flow of time itself. Understanding this changes the way we see reality. Time is not an immutable river, but a dynamic, malleable dimension. Every photon, every tick of a clock, every measurement we take is a reminder that the universe obeys rules beyond human intuition. Light silently enforces those rules, bending the rhythm of existence and revealing that reality is not fixed, but fluid, mysterious, and far richer than we imagine. When we grasp this, we start to see the universe not as a stage where events unfold independently, but as a living, interconnected tapestry, with time itself dancing to the subtle guidance of light. When we step back and look at all of this together, it becomes clear that our everyday experience of time is only a tiny fraction of the full picture. We trust clocks to tick evenly, and we schedule our lives as if seconds are absolute, yet the universe has been quietly reminding us for centuries that this is an illusion. Time is not uniform, not guaranteed, and not independent of the cosmos. Light traveling at its constant speed dictates the pace of reality, enforcing rules that stretch and compress time depending on motion, gravity, and perspective. Every photon passing through space carries a message about how the universe flows, and we are bound to interpret that message whether we notice it or not. This realization has consequences far beyond physics classrooms or high-speed particle accelerators. Even in our daily lives, light and time interact in ways we rarely perceive. Sunlight reaching our eyes is always from the past, yet it shapes our understanding of the present. Satellites and airplanes must account for time dilation, or navigation systems would fail. High-energy particles survive longer than expected because their internal clocks are slowed by near light speeds. The invisible influence of light is everywhere, orchestrating a hidden rhythm that underlies every event, every measurement, every perception. Humans struggle with this because our brains evolve to deal with the slow, everyday motions of life. We think in hours, minutes, and seconds because that works for walking, running, building, and communicating. Our intuition insists on absolutes. Time flows steadily, space is fixed, and events follow a predictable sequence. Yet the deeper truth is far stranger. Time is relational, it bends, stretches, and contracts. It is inseparable from motion and from the propagation of light. Light is not just illuminating reality, it is quietly shaping the very structure of space-time. Every tick of a clock, every photon of light, is a small, perfect enforcement of the universe's rules. This understanding does more than change how we do science. It changes how we see existence itself. Reality is not a rigid stage where events unfold uniformly. It is a dynamic, interconnected tapestry, with time flowing differently depending on motion and observation. Light is the loom weaving the fabric of experience, creating a universe where past, present, and future are intertwined, and where our perception is always just one perspective among many. The simple act of measuring time becomes a window into the structure of the cosmos, revealing the strange, elegant, and invisible choreography of light and motion. Recognizing this also invites a deeper philosophical reflection, grounded in science. We are participants in a universe that does not conform to intuition. We are bound to light, and through light, bound to time itself. Each moment we experience is a product of countless photons traveling across space, sculpting the pace of reality. Time is alive in a sense. It is responsive, flexible, and intimately connected to the cosmos. And while we may never fully know why time exists, we can understand how it behaves, and that understanding alone transforms the way we perceive life, existence, and reality. The next time sunlight falls across a clock, or you watch the hands sweep steadily around a face, remember this light is silently bending time. Every second, every photon, every tick is a tiny, invisible act of cosmic governance. Time is not a fixed river, it is a living dimension, and light is the secret sculptor. Understanding this is not just physics. It is a glimpse into the true architecture of the universe, and a reminder that reality is far more intricate, subtle, and beautiful than our senses ever suggest. Even after we account for clocks, satellites, and the bending of light through gravity, there remains a more subtle, almost poetic truth. Time, as experienced, is inseparable from observation. Every photon that reaches our eyes or instruments is a bridge between events and perception. The light we see from a star is not the star as it is now, but as it was millions or billions of years ago. In that sense, all observation is a conversation with the past, mediated by light. Reality is not presented to us directly. It is filtered, delayed, and is structured by the finite speed of light. Time does not merely pass, it is transmitted, carried and interpreted by photons. This has startling implications. It means that the present, we experience is always a reconstruction, a stitched together approximation created from countless signals traveling at the cosmic speed limit. When we synchronize clocks, launch satellites, or even glance at the sun, we are interacting with a universe that is constantly negotiating time on a scale far larger and stranger than our intuition allows. Every act of observation is also an act of participation in the universe's temporal structure. We are not outside observers of time. We are embedded within it, experiencing it in a form that is contingent upon light, motion, and perspective. The interplay of light and time also challenges the way we think about causality and sequence. If a clock moves near the speed of light, it ticks more slowly relative to a stationary observer. That means two observers moving differently experience events in a different order, or at least with different durations between them. The universe allows multiple perspectives to coexist, each internally consistent, yet incompatible when compared directly. This is not a flaw, it is a feature of reality dictated by light. Time is flexible but always precise. Light enforces consistency while permitting relativity. We can also extend this idea to a cosmic scale. Galaxies collide, stars explode, black holes warp space-time, and yet every photon traveling through the cosmos obeys the same immutable speed limit, silently shaping how time unfolds across billions of light years. Each photon is a tiny messenger and enforcer of temporal rules. The universe is an intricate ballet, choreographed by light, where time bends and stretches, yet never loses coherence. Our perception is one small, localized viewpoint within this vast, elegant structure. Finally, there is a profound lesson in all of this. Reality is not what our senses tell us. Time is not a constant, nor is it independent of the universe. Light is not just a physical phenomenon, it is a sculptor of the rhythm of existence. It quietly dictates the flow of seconds, minutes, and years, and it allows the cosmos to maintain coherence even as events unfold at scales far beyond human experience. Understanding this does more than expand our scientific knowledge. It changes the way we inhabit the universe. To live with this understanding is to recognize that every moment is shaped not just by the mechanics of matter, but by the invisible orchestration of light itself. The seconds we measure, the memories we form, the experiences we perceive, they are all threaded through the constant, silent governance of photons. Time is not a simple river flowing uniformly. It is a living, dynamic fabric, endlessly woven and maintained by the speed of light. By appreciating this, we glimpse the universe not as a static stage, but as an interconnected, evolving tapestry, where light and time dance together, and where our place within it is both small and deeply connected to the cosmic order. If we allow ourselves to think even further, another layer of wonder emerges. Time is not just flexible, it is intimately connected to the fabric of reality itself. Light does more than move through space, it defines the rhythm by which events can occur, the maximum speed at which information, energy, and influence can travel. In that sense, light is the universe's ultimate regulator, quietly enforcing the rules of cause and effect, ensuring that events unfold in ways that maintain consistency even across billions of light years. Every photon is a tiny arbiter, carrying the laws of space-time with it, and subtly shaping how time is experienced in every corner of the cosmos. Consider the bizarre consequences. Two observers moving at different speeds do not just disagree about distance or velocity, they literally experience different durations between the same events. A spaceship racing near the speed of light will age more slowly than someone who remains on Earth. Twins could live through decades apart from each other, their biological clocks diverging because light governs the flow of time. This is not science fiction. It has been confirmed in experiments with atomic clocks and subatomic particles. Light is secretly dictating the rhythm of life, even in ways that seem completely invisible to us. This leads to a profound tension between intuition and reality. We trust our senses to tell us what is happening now. We believe time ticks evenly for all, yet physics reveals that these beliefs are limited by our human perspective. Light exposes the deeper truth: reality is relative, dynamic, and interconnected. What one observer experiences as a second may be longer or shorter for another. Even the concept of simultaneity, events occurring the same time, is not universal. Light forces us to confront a universe where every perspective is valid within its own frame of reference, yet no single viewpoint can claim absolute authority. Our struggle to comprehend this reflects the limits of human cognition. We are creatures evolved for a slow-moving world. We build clocks, calendars, and time zones to organize life, but these are conveniences layered on top of a deeper, more complex temporal structure. Light teaches us humility. Our perception is just one of many possible experiences of time, constrained by motion, gravity, and the speed at which information can travel. It reminds us that the universe is not designed to conform to intuition. It simply is, with laws that are elegant, precise, and sometimes counterintuitive. And yet, understanding this is liberating. It allows us to appreciate the subtle beauty of reality. Time is not a rigid, impersonal backdrop. It is a dynamic tapestry woven with motion and light. Every particle, every photon, every interaction participates in this dance. We are not passive observers. Our presence, our motion, and our perception are part of the intricate choreography of space-time. Recognizing that time is flexible, that light is the hidden sculptor of experience, transforms the way we see ourselves and our place in the cosmos. Reality becomes more mysterious, but also more intimate. Time is alive, relational, and deeply connected to the universe we inhabit. Light is both messenger and enforcer, revealing the structure of existence in ways our senses cannot detect. Every moment we experience is threaded through this cosmic interplay, and every photon carries a silent reminder that the universe is more profound, more subtle, and more astonishing than our intuition alone could ever grasp. The universe is not simply observed, it is lived, moment by moment, in a rhythm dictated by the silent, unyielding laws of light and time. When we push this understanding further, we begin to see that light doesn't just influence time, it defines the very structure of causality. Cause and effect, the sequence of events we rely on to make sense of reality, are inseparable from the finite speed at which light travels. If information could move infinitely fast, causality would become trivial. But the universe enforces limits. Light establishes the maximum speed at which any influence can propagate. Every event that happens is constrained by how fast light can travel between points in space. Time, in a sense, is measured not just by clocks or perception, but by the universe's ultimate messenger, the photon. This has consequences both practical and profound. In everyday life, the effects are subtle, almost invisible, yet measurable. GPS satellites correct for time dilation caused by both their speed and the weaker gravitational field in orbit. High-energy particles in accelerators experience extended lifetimes because the passage of time is slowed relative to stationary observers. Even the light streaming from distant stars teaches us that the now we perceive is always a reconstruction of the past. Our perception of events is filtered, delayed, and constrained by the journey of light. Time is not merely a backdrop. It is an emergent property tied to how signals propagate through the universe. At the philosophical level, this realization challenges our most basic assumptions. We tend to think of reality as absolute, with events unfolding in a fixed order for all observers. Yet relativity shows that simultaneity is relative, that two observers in motion relative to one another may disagree about which event happened first. The universe allows multiple perspectives, each internally consistent, yet distinct. Time is not universal, it is relational. Light enforces coherence while permitting relativity. It is both judge and messenger, ensuring that the rules of causality are maintained even in a universe where motion bends the flow of time. This insight changes how we understand our own experience. Every moment we live is threaded through the fabric of space-time, shaped by light traveling at its cosmic speed limit. Our brains, our perception of reality, and even our memories are all constructed from signals that have traveled through space and time. Time is not just something that passes. It is something we inhabit, something we create by moving through space and interacting with light. Every photon arriving at our eyes or instruments is a tiny thread connecting us to the broader universe, carrying with it a record of past events and subtly structuring the present. Recognizing this transforms our view of reality. We are not external observers measuring an objective flow of seconds. We are participants embedded in a dynamic, flexible temporal web. Light is the sculptor carving the rhythm of existence, ensuring that time is coherent even when stretched, bent, or warped by motion and gravity. Every tick of a clock, every photon, every interaction in the universe is part of this intricate, invisible choreography. Reality is not fixed or absolute. It is alive with motion, shaped by the unyielding speed of light, and deeply relational. Ultimately, understanding that light governs time invites awe without mysticism. The universe is not simply observed, it is lived and experienced through a dynamic interplay of light and motion. Our lives unfold along paths shaped by this cosmic dance, with each photon silently sculpting the passage of moments. Time is fluid, flexible, and intimately connected to the universe. Light is not just illuminating reality, it is orchestrating it. Every moment we perceive, every memory we hold, every second that passes is a consequence of this invisible, profound, and beautiful cosmic regulation. As we continue to explore the universe through the lens of light and time, an even more subtle truth emerges. Time is not only shaped by motion and gravity, but also by the very act of observation. When we see, measure, or interact with something, we are receiving information carried by light, and that information has traveled across space and, in some sense, across time. Every observation we make is delayed, filtered, and structured by the finite speed at which light propagates. The present we experience is already a reconstruction of the past, created by the photons that have journeyed to reach us. Our perception of know is a mosaic assembled from countless pieces of light, each telling a story that is slightly out of sync with our intuition. This realization challenges our sense of immediacy. We tend to think that events are happening here and now, exactly as we perceive them, but in reality, everything we see is already a record of what once was. The light from the moon reaches us about 1 second after leaving its surface. Sunlight takes 8 minutes to arrive. Light from the nearest star outside our solar system takes more than 4 years to reach Earth. Each photon carries information, but it also carries the consequence of the universe's finite speed limit. What we perceive as a moment is already an echo, a signal delayed, stretched, and shaped by the journey through space-time. Time is, in this sense, a dynamic tapestry woven by light. When we think about motion near the speed of light, these effects become even more dramatic. High-speed travelers experience time differently than stationary observers, and the sequence of events can appear altered depending on perspective. A clock moving near light speed ticks more slowly, and distances contract in the direction of motion. These are not abstract ideas, they are confirmed by countless experiments, from muons in particle accelerators to precise atomic clocks flown on high-speed aircraft. The universe allows multiple valid experiences of the same events, and light is the mediator, enforcing consistency while permitting relativity. Time is not an absolute, universal measure, it is a relationship, a flexible framework that emerges from the interplay of motion, gravity, and the speed of light. Even at a cosmic scale, light shapes our understanding of history and causality. The light reaching our telescopes today left distant galaxies millions or billions of years ago. Every image we capture of the universe is a glimpse into the past, mediated by light. Time and observation are inseparable. The universe is not simply an external stage on which events unfold uniformly. It is a living network of events, interconnected and constrained by the immutable speed of light. Causality, sequence, and temporal structure all depend on how light propagates through the cosmos and on how we, as observers, receive it. Understanding this invites a profound shift in perspective. We are not detached witnesses of a fixed, flowing river of time. We are embedded participants, moving through a web of space-time shaped and sculpted by light. Every moment we experience is a consequence of countless photons traveling across space, carrying with them the structure of the universe itself. Reality is dynamic, relational, and subtly orchestrated. Time is not an external, absolute measure. It is a property of our interactions with the cosmos. Light is not just illuminating existence. It is governing it, shaping the rhythm of reality, and quietly reminding us that the universe is far stranger, more elegant, and more intricate than our everyday intuition suggests. As we reach the edge of what we can grasp, one truth becomes clear: time as we experience it is not a fixed, external river flowing independently of us. It is alive, relational, and shaped by the universe itself. Light is the invisible sculptor, quietly regulating the pace of events, bending time without drama or fanfare, and enforcing the cosmic rules that make reality coherent. Every photon is both a messenger and a governor, carrying information across vast distances and subtly shaping the experience of every moment. Time is not just measured, it is transmitted, constrained, and orchestrated by light. This has profound consequences for how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe. When we watch the hands of a clock, when we observe a sunset, when we see the distant light of a star, we are participating in a cosmic dialogue. That dialogue is delayed, filtered, and structured by the immutable speed of light, reminding us that the present is always an interpretation. The past is woven into every observation, and the future remains open, unmeasured, and unconstrained. Every perception, every experience is threaded through the journey of light across space and time, making each moment uniquely ours, but inseparable from the universe. The relativity of time also teaches humility. Two observers in motion relative to one another can experience events differently, age at different rates, and even perceive sequences in distinct orders. Simultaneity is not guaranteed. The universe accommodates multiple perspectives, each internally consistent, and each enforced by the same universal speed limit. Light ensures coherence while allowing relativity. It is the arbiter that holds the cosmos together, a silent regulator of cause, effect, and temporal structure. To live in such a universe is to recognize that our intuition about time, our sense of a steady, absolute now, is a useful approximation, but not the fundamental truth. This understanding transforms our perception of reality. Time is not an external stage on which life unfolds. It is a dynamic, flexible, living dimension that emerges from motion, observation, and light itself. Every clock we build, every measurement we take, every photon we receive participates in the orchestration of time. We are not separate from this process, we are embedded in it. Our lives, our memories, our experiences are all part of the cosmic rhythm enforced by light. Reality is a tapestry, intricate and interconnected, with time woven through every interaction and every observation. To fully appreciate this is to embrace a universe that is stranger, richer, and more beautiful than we ever imagined. It is to see that the seconds we experience are both personal and universal. That light is not merely a tool for seeing, but a fundamental agent shaping the flow of existence, and that our perception of the world is inseparable from the cosmos that sustains it. Time is flexible, observation is real, and light is the secret sculptor. Reality is not static. It is a living dance, a symphony conducted in silence, with photons guiding the rhythm and bending our experience of moments. Every moment we live is a small miracle of cosmic coordination. Light is quietly, continuously orchestrating time, shaping our experience, and revealing that the universe is not only far stranger than intuition suggests, but far more interconnected and beautiful. To see time this way is to glimpse the architecture of existence itself. It is to understand that we are not merely moving through time, we are participating in it, living within it, and forever entwined with the silent, luminous messenger that carries the universe forward.